Package IP is an area where we want to help you as partners kind of migrate into that area, right? Because that is where we're seeing the profitability. Wanted to talk to you a little bit about your rates that you're charging today per user. Is this similar to what you're charging today? For those of you that are doing Office 365? Does that sound, yeah, it looks kind of in line per user? So the objective here is, as we just talked to you about Azure, right, is to really look and start selling cross-workload to your customers, right? Many of you, the #1 selling SKU at Tech Data on Office 365, can you guess what that SKU is? E3. Exchange Plan 1. Okay, that's where people are starting, right? People are feeling comfortable, right? They're starting off with Exchange, and then they'll move to the E3, right? So that's kind of the story here is the more you partner with us, right, and the more you offer the Microsoft services, you know, the higher recurring revenue rate that you can get. So this was a study, and you all have to kind of help me. You know, I'm sure many of you are very good in math, right? So this was a study that we did with Forrester, and we asked Forrester to go out and talk to MSPs like yourself and VARs, right, to really understand we wanted them to evaluate businesses for us. We wanted to know the value. If you were going to sell your company today, right, what would be the value of your company? So one of the things, what they talked about is current state. You can see the EBITDA is 1.5% to 3% current state, right? As partners that were doing some of the practices that we've talked about today, cloud services, you know, dedicated to a specific vertical, right, doing package IP, et cetera. Once they did those types of focuses in their business model, we saw an increase from 5 to 8x%. So this actually are true scenarios of some VARs and MSPs that have migrated and really put the effort behind building a cloud sales organization, did a lot of the marketing that Justin was talking about earlier. Some of the studies tell us that today, currently, you possibly are spending maybe 1, if 2% from your P&L on marketing. Is that correct? Or is it lower? Huh? Higher. So the average partners that have migrated to the cloud are spending approximately 8% of their P&L on marketing activities because they are generating it from a scale. They need to get new customers, as we were talking about. So this part is very interesting, right? So how many of you, I would say when I go and talk to partners, how do you compensate a cloud salesperson, right? Are any of you having challenges in this area? No? So what we have seen is that the landscape is changing, right? So in order to sell cloud, it is a bit less complex, right? You know, as long as you have a template, maybe you can do telemarketing, et cetera. So some partners are actually hiring anywhere from 22 to 28 young people, right? Coming in that don't cost a lot of money, right? And providing them the online tools and services to be able to sell from that perspective. And one of the things with Office 365 is truly around the volume, right? You've got to go out there and get new customers to be able to see that recurring revenue from a profitability perspective.
So there are some trainings coming to all of the local cities, all the major markets across the U.S. If you guys would like to hear their story and how they're going out, they hire a bunch of 18 to 20-year-old kids. And for the main reason of what you just said, traditional sales reps, I sold a $50,000 deal, I make $5,000 or $10,000. It's no longer the same. And so one thing that we have to transition into is we can no longer sell a product, right? I would love for you guys not to go out and sell Office 365. I'd love for you not to go out and sell Azure. You have to sell solutions. So we try to talk about our president of North America, Judson. He describes it like the solution, the Azure and Office 365 are like stainless steel plumbing. Go try to sell stainless steel plumbing. It's more expensive, it's heavier, nobody wants it. But if you can sell a really fancy hot tub that can help you have the hottest party in the club, but you have to have stainless steel plumbing to go with it, that's the way that you sell it. So think of how can I go out and sell solutions, and that's what we're trying to talk to you about here, that you have to find these reps who can just talk solutions and sell one deal a week. You're not going to make a high dollar amount on every single transaction, so it is a volume deal. One slide, can you go one slide back? I'll tell you guys on the company with EBITDA and so forth. I told you guys I sold my company, and I'll give you a real life example here. What attracts a premium price? This is what's most important, because you can go out and find people who can acquire your company, do the same thing. There's no strategic value there, and they'll give you 1.5 to 3x of your overall EBITDA. EBITDA, if you don't know, is earnings before income taxes, depreciation, and amortization. It's basically your operating income. If you're making, here it's showing you're making $400,000 a year, or if you're making $100,000 a year, if you take that multiplier in the middle, 2.25, your company's worth 2.25x, $900,000. And where we were as a training company, we found somebody who was in the education space, in the federal government for-profit education space, who every dollar of cash they got in for training, which we delivered only cash training, federal government gave them $9 in grants to give to students to take truck driving and nursing school and things like that. So we got an 8x multiplier. So we got that strategic buyer right here. So what ended up happening was they bought our company. They got in a lot of trouble over the last couple of years. They actually just sold the company again. But what they didn't care about was EBITDA anymore, because they wanted top line dollars. They gave up on the bottom line because they just wanted top line so they could get that 9x return from the government. Well, then when they went to go sell the company again, they sold 2 weeks ago, and they got 1x. They got $3 million. We sold the company for $18 million. They got $3 million, right? Because EBITDA went to nothing. So there's a lot that you can do if you get into the strategic and you start looking at what are some of the new models that we can get new sales reps and become more of a strategic seller. You'll make more money in the long run as you look at as an exit strategy than what we're doing traditionally today with just on-prem business.
So this slide here basically is showing you just the migration of, like Justin was saying, it's not just about Office 365, it's more what you were talking about, right? Is the more bundling and adding the projects and the solutions. And as you see, as you go up this, this ladder here, it's really the recurring managed services and that package IP, right? Is really finding a way to differentiate yourself from that, and that's where the dollars are. There was one slide that I wanted to talk a little bit about, but I don't know where it is there, right? But I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about compensation. I'm really interested in hearing from you, how are you compensating for people that are selling cloud, right? Anybody that'd like to share? Because some of the experience that we're seeing is people are actually hiring a new sales organization to sell cloud services, right? It's not your normal salespeople that you have today. They're bringing new people in and they're compensating them in a different way. So I know that you had said that you're not having any challenges with compensation with cloud. So can you share with us a little bit on how you're comping your salespeople?
Well, basically, we comp everybody about the same way. It's 5% of gross profit. So if they can, the more money they can bring in, the more money they can make, and we don't care how they do it. The easiest sales are the Office 365. They take the least amount of time for the money to come back. Lead time on forklifts of networks or servers and all that, those are long sales processes. They can spend a lot of time on them, and they want to go after whatever they get the money fastest. So.
Do you pay them just for the first year of the Office 365 sale, or do you pay them commission on future years?
No, only on initial sale.
Only on the initial sale of the first year? Okay. Anybody else? Okay, so, because that's funny, because I was at the TD Cloud Summit a couple weeks ago, and this was kind of the #1 thing that kept on coming up is how do we get our salespeople motivated, right, to sell in the cloud, because it is probably, what, 2/3 lower, right, top line than it is, from an on-prem solution type of thing. Yes?
You've been asking if anyone's having challenges in this new model. I ask a different question. Is there anyone who's actually even doing this model today, right? So not are they being challenged, but what are the successes? Are they even doing that? I'll tell you, in our firm, and we're probably a decent-sized MSP, our challenge is immense. As a matter of fact, we have no salespeople doing this. Our engineers are actually the ones doing the Office 365 stuff, simply because if they're already on site and they're doing other things, it's completely reactive. It's not proactive, because as someone else said, that the sales cycle for a traditional type of solution is much longer than an Office 365, but we're so challenged with it, we don't know where to go. So I'm just curious if anyone else is facing the same kind of struggles by taking a large dollar volumed individual and trying to get them to sell a recurring revenue service such as Office 365.
Here's what I've seen in the field. The reason that you have to move to that younger type salesperson that doesn't require a $100,000 salary is because you want to find people who are going to smile and dial and do everything you can possibly do to get in the door. They're not going to be the people who close the deals. So your pre-sales engineers, what you want is you want them on the hot opportunities. So these pre-sales guys who are, maybe you're paying them $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 that are just finding, hey, somebody raised their hand, they're interested. That's as far as they can take them. Then you have a pre-sales person who can come in and take that person to that next level. So you want to keep that funnel coming as much as you possibly can by having low level. I mean, some people use telemarketing resources in the Philippines or whatever it takes. So that's what we see a lot, and at least in the West region, that's what I'm seeing some really successful partners doing.
So like these two guys here, I'm a pure MSP play. And like you said, that's what we need to be focused on. I'm focused on selling my MSP service, and then once I'm their provider, I tell my customers what they're going to use and what solutions they're going to use. I'm not selling Office 365 to my customer. I'm telling them this is what you're using. So, I mean, I don't see where the marketing 365 is not even in our plans. I think it's kind of what you were getting at too.
So to dovetail on the same sort of thing, at least our approach, similar to what you're describing, is that we are selling, Fusion Tech's the name of our company, so we're selling Fusion Tech services, and we sell a package with that. Our stool, if you will, one of the legs of that is the Microsoft Cloud Platform. So Office 365, Azure, what have you. So that's very nice. But we're coming in from a business process solution. We don't sell technology. We sell a business solution. We have a business discussion with people. We use technology to deliver that. So the disconnect, at least I'm having, is throwing up a slide about how I need somebody to smile and dial all day long is a disconnect with what we're trying to sell. What Justin added to, where it might be an inside sales or a lead generation person, that makes a little more sense in the understanding there. But from a managed services point of view, yeah, you've got some people who are well compensated for that, but they're bringing in a wide range of services. They're not pushing one particular thing, and they need to have a business level conversation with somebody. And so that level of sophistication, at least we haven't seen, just being able to pick somebody up off the street, and we've gone through some successful salespeople, and somewhere it's been like, hey, this is clearly not working out. So what I would say is we rolled into part of the portfolio there, but I'd be curious if you guys have some thoughts about that, one way or the other, and how you bundle that.
Well, to me, it just seems, you're talking to people in the audience that have different kinds of businesses than what you're talking about here. And it's attractive. It could be attractive to do that, in terms of going out and hiring 3 kids to go sell Office 365. That's not the business that, most of us are probably in. We've been in consultative processes. We've been in relationship businesses, providing IT services, solutions, and so forth. So it's a little bit like saying, let's go out and sell vacuum cleaners to us. And actually, that might be more profitable. So I was told that many years ago. And somebody doesn't have a brother-in-law that knows more about vacuum cleaners than you do. So, that's kind of the way it comes across to me is, and I get why and all the things, but it's just really, it's not necessarily part of our business model to just be out selling to the random customers. I don't want to sell to random customers. I don't want, I'd rather that weren't in the phone book, right? You want referral business and all that stuff. So, not say it can't be a profitable business, but in many ways, that's not the kind of business I'm in today, but maybe next year.
No, thanks. So that's all really good insight. And when we put these things up here, these slides are ideas that other partners have put forward, what they've done to make themselves successful. And part of the reason why we're exposing this to you is, like you said, maybe you're not doing it this year, but you may think about doing it next year. Maybe you'll spin off a smaller division. Maybe just hire one person to try this out from an Office 365 perspective and do those dials and smiles and see what they end up doing for you. So just to move along, since we've got a lot to cover this afternoon around Office 365, just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of the ways that you can purchase Office 365 as Microsoft partners. We have, for quite some time now, been able to sell Office 365 through the Open program at Tech Data, and there have been some challenges because of the types of SKUs that were available. You know, not everything had what we wanted in our particular space for customers that were asking about it. So a lot of us, you know, said, okay, well, let's just go sell the advisor model, because with the advisor model, I can go direct. I know I can get everything on the advisor model. So, you know, why not go that way? And so the advisor model is still available. You get 12% for the one-time sell up front, 4% managed is the recurring revenue that you're going to get through the advisor program, and then if you are a Cloud Accelerator partner or have a competency around the cloud, there are some accelerators available for you for that total of 23%. The main thing you notice up there is the fact that that 12% sell is that one-time largest amount of revenue that you're going to generate from the sale. Unfortunately, in years 2, 3, 4, that 12% goes away, and you're limited to the manage and the accelerator if you're able to be eligible for that aspect. But, you know, little to no cost required. All you've got to do is make sure that you're a Microsoft Online Services partner, and you can start selling the cloud through the advisor model. But as you guys are all Tech Data partners and working through Tech Data, we just want to make sure that you're fully taking advantage of the Open program. And with the new SKUs that I'm about to talk about, we have enabled you to be more successful selling Open because of the flexibility of these new SKUs. So what happened on October 1st is we introduced the new business plans through Open and through all channels, actually, around Office 365. At the same time, we have begun to phase out the small business premium and small business plans, as well as the mid-size SKUs. Those were the SKUs that you traditionally purchased through Tech Data because those ones were the first ones that were available and the ones that, that you could sell to your customers. But really what we're trying to talk about here is the fact that Office 365, yes, you can get into the services discussion. I know that all of you are managed service providers or do work similar to that, but what we're trying to, take this down to the lowest level, right, when you're talking to your reps, and we believe that the best way to position Office 365, aside from the services, is to really talk about Office 365 being the best way to sell the Office desktop apps. Word, PowerPoint, Excel. We're almost at this point where there should be no reason why any future sales of Office should be done through traditional volume licensing or traditional, OEM type sales, because Office 365 is really the way that we're positioning for the future. Now, I'm not saying there's never a reason, but we're seeing that you should at least have conversations at most junctures. So obviously, what you're familiar with right now, if you haven't sold Office 365 desktop applications, is Office Professional Plus. Familiar, full Office applications. Key point right here, locally installed on one PC. Now, obviously, if you use a volume license, you've got some portable use rights and things like that to try to mitigate that. However, Office 365 Pro Plus, that's the standalone desktop SKU. That's installed on up to 5 devices. And as managed service providers or as partners, we don't even really care about where they install it, because once they no longer pay, the account gets shut off. We don't have to worry about uninstalling it. We don't have to worry about tracking it. You're good to go there. And it also unlocks Office Mobile for the iPhone or Android devices out there. So if you have a customer who has they've decided, I'm going to get my Salesforce iPads, but I want them to be productive, let's install Office on them. Yeah, sure, they can read Office documents, but when they actually want to start editing Office documents on that iPad, the only way to unlock Office is with an Office 365 account.
It's always been known that it's 5 machines per user.
5 machines per user, that is correct.
If I'm not using Microsoft Exchange on the server, through Office 365,
Yes.
and I just buy the Office 365 Pro Plus, does the user have to be living and breathing? So that means I can put it on 5 different person computers and have a user called User 1.
Well, each, I'm not going to get into the legal, ramifications, because I don't know the answer if whether or not that person is living and breathing. So, but the licensing description will say that it's per user.
Yeah.
And so, from a per user basis, at least the way that, again, I'm not a lawyer, but
I know.
I would say that.
Someone brought this up to me, which means they can buy 20% of the licensing and furnish 100% of their equipment, especially if they have Exchange server on their own premise,
Right.
and they're not using the Exchange server from Office 365.
Yeah, I mean, Exchange has nothing to do with this at
Yeah.
that point. I mean, so that's not even the issue. From a desktop application standpoint, though, by the way that it is, kind of portrayed, it should be an individual, meaning a human being that has the license attached to it.
I don't think that's the way the wording reads.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
I'd like to
it
get
doesn't
some-
yeah.
I would really love to get some clarification on, I know what the intent is.
Yes.
So I'm with you, because I want to sell
Right.
more than
I
less.
mean, again, it's
If you have a customer who's licensed that way, and then they get audited, guess who they're going to be mad at? It's not going to be Microsoft, because you're the one who told them, hey, just go ahead and buy one copy and we'll put it on 5 desktops. So I just wouldn't put myself in that position. It is it's one copy is for per user for 5 desktops and 5 tablets, and I just leave it at that.
Does the user have to be living or
Let's say that they have to be living. Just to be safe, right? Because you want to be a true trusted advisor, just have a living person.
If I were to take that to court, I would have a problem with that. So I would really love the license to be much more specific.
so. What's your definition?
In the old model, I could only put it on one machine.
That's because it was a per device model.
I got it.
This is a per user model.
I got that
Right.
too. So the question is, does the user have to be living or breathing?
I
I
would-
think that's
but-
just a
well, I
question
mean,
for your
I
Microsoft team.
believe that the definition of a user is, okay. Well, yeah, we'll table that. We'll table that. All right. So, anyways, if you do want to make sure that your customers are properly licensed, it is per user licensing. All right. But again, if you want to add services, you got email, collaboration, IM, meetings, and Yammer as well, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. So. Here's the value. I mean, if you want to just talk about why Office 365 versus an on-premises version of Office, here are all the different ways you can talk about it with your customers. You'll notice that kind of like that slide earlier that we had about on-premises versus per-seat licensing in a subscription model going up. You can see that, yes, there are some benefits that we're always going to include with an on-premises copy of Office as long as we're maintaining that. However, you'll notice that all the features come to our Office 365 versions first and foremost, right? So if you want to be on the cutting edge there, make sure it's Office 365. So this is what I just talked about, right? We've been phasing out these 2 copies right here of Office 365 Midsize and Office 365 Business and transitioning into a new plan lineup. The good news is all the Office 365 plans, they're staying the same. You don't have to worry about any changes there. So if you've been selling it and you've been worried, what about these new plans? Are they going to kind of erode my Office 365 Enterprise business? They may in some regards because there are some great benefits to the new business plans. But if you're still moving along strong selling E3, not going to change. So we heard from a lot of customers is, you know what? With these plans that I'm purchasing through Open and the small business plan that I purchased through FPP, it's hard for me to move. I'm locked into the fact that I've only got 25 seats max that I can use on a small business premium account. They're saying, as partners, it's hard for me to do the upsell if I'm on small business because I've got to do this manual transition, and if I'm doing the open program, that makes it even harder. So what do? We created some new plans on October 1st, starting with this one over here. This is going to be, in my opinion, the way that you're going to be able to talk about Office 365 versus, the on-premises version. Because when you guys sell on the on-premises version of Office, what version do you normally sell today? What's the SKU name? Standard in the volume licensing standpoint. I hear a lot from my reps at Tech Data, the home and business version of 2013. It is a consumer-based version, meaning it's available in retail channels as well, and it's because it's a great price. I mean, it works out well and it's great for a lot of smaller businesses. However, this SKU right here, that's $8 and actually 25 cents per user per month. That's $99 per year. $99 per year allows you to have Office 365 desktop apps, including Publisher, right? Including Word, PowerPoint, Excel, Outlook, OneNote. The only thing you don't get inside this version right here is Access. That's the only thing you don't get. And what does it say right there next to Office apps? OneDrive. 1 terabyte worth of OneDrive storage in the cloud for $99 per user per year. You don't have to worry about taking custody. Again, let's not talk about per user, but 5 users per device per account, and you also get the ability to have the fact that when a new version of Office comes out, it's already built in. If you buy an on-premises version without software assurance, When the new version comes out, you got to rebuy all over again. $99 a year keeps you always whole, and it's a great way to buy it. Business Essentials. So this is very similar to the small business plan that we introduced. So small business plan was only the services. Small business premium added in Office, but small business has kind of been transitioned into Business Essentials. After that, if you move forward here, you'll see that we do have Business Premium. It doesn't say small business premium, it says business premium. The reason why is because we're not just talking about small business premium transitioning into this version. This is also what the mid-sized business plan is looking like today. So if you had a customer that was on the mid-sized business plan, they would probably be transitioning into business premium. If you didn't know this, the mid-sized business plan for customers that are still renewing is still available through Tech Data. They've lowered the price from $15 a month to $12.50 per month. So now that is on parity with the business premium plan. The only reason why that plan is still in place is for people that want to keep on going with mid-sized business, because there are some benefits that I'll talk about in just a second. Let's talk about that. I'll get you one second, Joe. This right here has been, a godsend, because I don't have to answer questions like that anymore. Everything you see on the screen right here can be combined, and everything you see up here can be combined with all the individual services. So I can mix Exchange Online Plan 1 with Business. I could put Exchange Online Plan 2 with Business Essentials. The limits, the only real limits you have right here is the fact that these business plans are limited to a seat count of 300. Now, if you've got customers that are in the 300 range, they might be looking at alternatives. But if you have customers that are 300 and below, the business premium plans and the business essentials and business plans will work. And here's the other great thing. You know what? That's 300 per service. So I could theoretically have 900 people on those business plans in some type of combination. All right, so you don't have to worry about it. So the seat cap limit should not be a mitigating factor when it comes to dealing with this type of conversation. Again, these are all going to be available. Now, what I wanted to kind of stress here, I think I have another slide on it later on, is that I want you to kind of get rid of talking about enterprise and business, especially when you're talking about solutions. Don't talk to your customers about, hey, yeah, Microsoft's got these enterprise plans, you should get E3. Say that Microsoft has a plan for core needs and plans for advanced needs. Because when they start thinking enterprise, they start going, wow, I don't have a 1,000-seat company, but I do have some advanced needs. That's where really you're going to be able to position these enterprise plans. And we still wanted you to sell these enterprise plans over these, because it means more revenue not only for you, but also for Microsoft. So what else? Just to reiterate, the enterprise plans do not have a seat cap, so you don't have to worry about a 300 limit there, anyways. And when you talk about some of those add-on services, they will be able to be added on to the business plans as well as the enterprise plans. So when message encryption, things like that come to open, or when you want to add archiving, they can be added to all these plans. This is all the same scalable admin, one portal experience. So just think of them basically as the same plans, just a couple of limitations down here with these smaller ones. Joe, did you have a question? So the full suite includes access? The full, yeah. So these ones right here. So the enterprise. Oh, I'm sorry. When I said access, access is only available in the enterprise plans that includes Office. So if I get Business Premium, it includes the version of Office 365 Business that's located right here. So this one does not include access. So in that case right there, if you have a customer that says, well, you know what? I have 2 people in my company that need access. You can still sell them 50 copies of Business Premium and then 2 copies of Enterprise E3 and mix them that way. How about licensing for terminal services? So licensing for terminal services is only available, and I have some slides on this, is only available in the enterprise plans. The version of Office that you get with the business plans, Business Premium, Business, and the business plan, do not include shared computer access. So it is only used for on a per device basis. Terminal services is only enabled on the enterprise plans. So that's again another way to upsell into one of these higher plans. So why is this great for customers? Because we believe that you should lead every conversation when it comes to the desktop and getting people up to date with Office. It's a simplified sales process, because now we don't have to worry about, oh, but if you do this or do that, you got to do this. It's made basically, do you need access for Office? Then you're going to E3. Do you need terminal services? You're going to the enterprise plans. It's really just about advanced needs. Greater value for SMB plans. Like I said, I think that $99 a year for Office and that 1 terabyte of storage and 5 devices, that usually sells it. But again, you know, if you have customers that are still going to go on premises, we still have those plans available too. All right, so this is kind of a breakdown right here of how you take a look at the business plans. Well, I have a comparison chart of the enterprise plans in just a little bit as well, but you can see here that $8.25 is good, will give you the business plans with Office apps alone, just the services, you know, time altogether, $12.50. So you can see there's a discount between buying those plans separately. This is showing you right here the difference between the copies of the desktop apps between the business version and the Pro Plus version that's found inside of the E3 plan. You'll notice that Access and Link are not included right here. And when I say Link, I'm talking about the Link full client. If you happen to get the business premium version, because that includes the services as well, or you get the Business Essentials version, which includes, you know, SharePoint, Exchange, and Link, you still get access to Link Basic. Link Basic is going to give you almost everything you need. The only thing it's really not going to have on there, there's a couple little tweaks with conferencing as well as enterprise voice. So if you are hooking up to an on-premises Link server and you want to be able to dial phone numbers, you must go up to the enterprise plans. The Link client that's included with Link Basic does not have those features. Yep.
Do we know how far these products will be lagging on the government sector?
So the government sector is typically based on the enterprise plans. So I don't think that they would be. I don't think that these small business plans are going to be inside the government sector. Yeah.
I'm talking about local government, not federal.
Okay. Yeah. You know what? I don't. Well, when I say enterprise plans, I don't mean enterprise large, right? I just mean enterprise in terms of advanced needs. I don't think that they have made some changes, for example, to local government or government plans inside of Open, for example. They have an Exchange Online plan that includes, you know, archiving for government specifically, but I don't believe they're going to be launching one of these small business type plans for government. Yep.
So I don't understand, what is Microsoft's desire in terms of, we have a lot of long-time clients who are on traditional open licensing with software assurance for Office?
Yep.
Is the idea to just drop that and move them to this? Is that what Microsoft wants?
Eventually, I think that's going to be what's going to happen. So for example, right now, when you have a customer that's on traditional volume licensing, we actually have specific, and you can ask Tech Data about this, renew to the cloud offers. So instead of renewing their software assurance, they're going to renew at a discount into one of our Office 365
And
plans.
will that require us to reinstall Office on every desktop?
It will, because that's a volume licensing copy version of Office versus an Office 365 copy. So, you know, look at that as an opportunity, but yes, that would happen. That would have to happen.
Well, it's a cost to the customer.
It is a
it's
cost to the
roadblock
customer.
to
But, you
do
know,
it.
yeah, right. But again, that same customer, if they were to upgrade from an old version of 2003 to 2010 or 2013, would have to reinstall as well. And the good thing about this right here is that this version of Office, it is something that we try to manage for end users to do on their own. So when they log into Office365.com and they go to their landing page, there's a button to install Office directly on that PC. And the great thing about it is because it's in a sandbox environment, it's not touching all these other apps. So you're not really going to have to do any real uninstallation until you get the chance to do it. So there are benefits to the Office 365 version over the volume licensing or standard, you know, standardly installed versions. Okay.
That's why E1 is still the most popular SKU, because people have 2013 or 2010, and they don't want to upgrade until they have to.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, there are customers that are, you know,
They're
for
waiting
example,
for like 2017 to show up.
All right, so this now, now you see a lot of dots on the screen. This compares the business plans to the enterprise plans, so you can see that there are some, some areas where the enterprise plans are going to give you some existing, some additional services. One of the things that I wanted to point out here, because it got brought up on a call just the other day, is it says supports hybrid deployment with on-premises servers. You notice that only the enterprise plans include that. And so what that means specifically is that with the enterprise plans, the user subscription license includes not only the access to the online services like Exchange Online, SharePoint Online, Link Online, but it also includes access to the on-premises servers, meaning you get the licensing, the CALs, for on-premises when you buy the enterprise version. So I don't have to buy a separate Exchange CAL, I don't have to buy a separate SharePoint CAL. It's included if I have the enterprise plans. Whereas if I had the business plans and we're trying to access a local Exchange server, I'd have to buy a separate Exchange CAL. Joe? It was, no, on the older, no, yeah, that was the case. So mid-size and small business, you needed to buy the USLs did not include on-premises. What I'm saying is not the exchange on-premise server license, but the user CALs are included with the enterprise plans. Yep. All right, so pitching the right plan. Let me just take a look at my watch here. Again, talk about core needs versus advanced needs. And then there are, again, the standalone ramps. What we like to talk about on this particular slide is the fact that, you know what, if customer just wants email, their standalone plan, Exchange Online, $4 per user per month. Office apps, just sell them to business. So this is, when we're talking about on-ramps, what we're really meaning to say is that these are the cheapest ways to really kind of buy these services, but we don't want to just go the cheapest way because we want to maximize revenue. So I like these things right here. These are some pretty good slides, and we actually have more than the ones I'm about to show you right here. This might be a customer who's running an old version of Exchange, Server 2003, 150 users. They want to get rid of their old infrastructure. We've talked about Azure in the beginning, but if they want to go pure software as a service, moving up to Business Premium, you know, we can now handle 150 users, $12.50 per month, you know, unlimited meetings, business class email, 1 terabyte of cloud storage for each user. But you know what? Let's upsell them. We can say that with E3 plan, you're going to be able to add get access to enterprise business intelligence. You will also be able to do a hybrid deployment. You can activate RDS, also archiving, e-discovery. The things like message encryption, believe it or not, and Justin he mentioned to me, JJ, make sure that they realize that, yeah, you might not be able to buy that specific service alone right now through Open, but every copy of Exchange, Enterprise Plan E3 includes message encryption inside of that service. You don't get that with the business plans. So right now, if you need it right now, sell E3. But the message encryption will be coming to Open in the near future. Yep.
Does the E2 exchange plan, Exchange E2,
Yeah.
include encryption?
It doesn't. You still have to buy encryption separately.
Because they told me it did.
Okay.
Because there's E1 and E2.
Right.
So I asked about E2 because I'm like, oh, maybe I could
Yeah,
do encryption
yeah.
here. They said it didn't.
It's a specific rights because it's also built into Azure Rights Management as well. That's why. It's almost like a separate thing that you need to purchase. But yeah, we'll have to talk about that. Take that offline. Okay, I'll speak to her a little bit more about that. I mean, there are varying. There may be a little bit of confusion there. So covering up what types, there are covering other user types. So if I do have Business Premium at $12.50 per user per month, and I still have deskless workers or people that need Visio or Dynamics, all that stuff can be combined where it couldn't in the past. And this is the last kind of scenario slide that I'll show you right here, because I think there's about 4 or 5 more that we've kind of hidden. As Marissa mentioned, and as Joe kind of pointed out again, Exchange Online has been the most popular plan to sell through the Open program at Tech Data. $4 per user a month, it sounds like a deal, right? $48 for the year. Look, just add one more dollar. Just add one more dollar per month, and now we can have 1 terabyte worth of cloud storage and collaboration, unlimited online meetings, team sites, enterprise social with Yammer. You know, just do that simple upsell, and that can make a difference when you talk about scale across all of your customers. So once you scale that Business Essentials plan right there for $5 per user per month, let's have another conversation. Say, you know what, you've got those great services, but in order to take advantage of those services, don't you want the desktop apps to take care of those alone? So take care of those as well. So for an additional $8.50, well, actually for an additional $7.50 above Business Essentials, you get the whole suite. Yeah.
Now, let's say you had to go back to the last slide. You have a customer that comes in on Exchange only and online.
Yeah.
And then wants to go up to the next one. Do I have to reinstall anything to go up to the next level or move between services?
You don't. Now, there are some things, for example, like if you bought it through the Open program, you're prepaying for basically a year per user. In that case right there, if they moved up to the Business Essentials, they would have to wait until the renewal so that they don't lose any money, or they could say, you know what, I don't care about losing the money, I want to just go for it right now, and you could reassign the license into the Business Essentials plan. If you're on going direct, if you're going the advisor model that we discussed, you would be able to use what's called the Switch Plans Wizard, and they could just do it that way.
But there's not going to be any reloading of...
No reloading or anything. I mean, because it's the same user account, it's the same tenant, everything's going to still remain the same. Yep.
If I've got customers who have the licenses and we're adding more, can
Yes.
we buy like a partial year or like an 18-month contract so they all end together so that I don't have every 3 months I got to go back and sell them more?
No, unfortunately, no. You cannot. There's every SKU through the Open program is set to 1 year's worth of service. Now, if you're not familiar with selling the Open program, you may not realize that we have a coterminous end date that occurs with every single user. There's a mathematical calculation that I don't have time to go through right now, but if I have 10 users and then 6 months later I add in another 10 users, all 20 will end at the same date. Now that date is a rolling date because you've now added people midterm, but you're not going to have to worry necessarily about multiple times you're going to have to buy. Yep. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So okay, basically this is what happens. So if you have 10 users, right, you start on January 1st, okay? Each user has 365 days worth of service on the account, okay? Now, let's say in July, you decide to add 10 more users. Now, on July 1st, or July 1st, yeah, I mean, the first 10 users will have used up approximately 180 days left each. So now each of those 10 users have 180 days left of service, until the end of the year. Now, when you add the 10 users in on that day, those new 10 users have a total of 365 days per. What Microsoft does is we calculate the total number of days left for all the users, now 20 users, and you divide those total number of days by 20, and that'll give you the new end date, which will probably be in the middle of the next year. So it is coterminous? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It is coterminous. It is coterminous, yep. All right, so the E3 offering, the E3 offering has it all. Don't have to worry about anything in terms of, hey, is this plan going to include this? Is this feature going to be in here? Don't worry, because the E3 plan has it. It's available by all channels basically. If you want to go advisor or direct, syndication, and then the open program offers these plans. And what else do I have here?
Quick question for you on
Yeah.
the previous slide. Go back one.
The syndicate, this one?
Yeah. So as we talked about earlier, so part of what I think we do, and part of what some other folks here do as well as you were advocating, was that we roll Office 365 into our managed services offerings. So in the advantage of the question about that is when we're purchasing it, because it's not something the customer is paying for separately, we're sending them one bill now, but their number of users might scale up or down, and then depending on the length of the contract, if it's month to month, if it's year by year, et cetera, if we're having to purchase that, we've had to front load our Office 365 costs if we choose to use the open purchasing model.
Yeah.
Our other
Good.
Our other options are either we can use the advisor model, which financially isn't as good.
Right.
And we're also paying month to month, so we've got a higher cost there.
Yep.
But there's no other SPLA or true like managed services type of option where we could, basically bill it on month-to-month basis, or the way you walked through the Azure process this morning,
Right.
where you buy it and you split it among all your tenants, so you reduce your risk and mitigate that.
I'll say this. Earlier today, you heard me talk about the CSP program, the Cloud Service Solution Provider program, which will allow for tiered billing. Most distributors should be participating in that. I don't have a specific launch date, but you will see there will be a new row here that will say CSP that may be beneficial to some of you that are looking at a managed services monthly billing type environment. It's not here right now, so I can't really talk about it formally, but there's some exciting things that are going to happen around selling Office 365. Yep.
Would that excitement be in the next 3 to 6 months?
They announced it at WPC, okay? So but this is.
Would it be on the chart? It's, I guess, the question.
Yeah, it's not. Will it be on the chart in the next 3 to 6 months? I'm hoping so. I mean, I think we'd all like it to happen, sooner than later. It's just operationally, this is a big undertaking because now you're moving, distribution, for example, from doing skewed billing. You've got part numbers to now moving truly into this, monthly recurring type environment. So it is one of the things that we're working on, and we're excited that it's going to be launching in the near future.
Understood. That's that's the CapEx challenge, because our costs are front loaded there. Is
right.
the
A lot of times, what businesses are doing is they're still, even though they're billing month to month, they do write in the contract and saying, look, if you cancel the contract, you still owe us for that whole year. You're paying up front. So again, it's whether or not you're going to be able to collect on that or not. But unfortunately, if you do sell it open, it is the annual cost up front. Yep.
Fair enough.
All right, so there are some things I want you to think about really quick here. Moving plans. Right now, if you do have customers on small business premium or the mid-sized business plan, you can keep them current on that plan until October 1st of next year. So if they want to renew, if their renewal, for example, for mid-size comes up in November, you can renew them into mid-size business until next year. And the reason why you might want to do that is because the copy of mid-size business includes Office 365 Pro Plus. So if you are using midsize to sell terminal services and you want to maintain that without moving up to the enterprise plan just yet, then you can keep them on midsize business if that makes sense. All right. Okay, so let me, I'm actually going to skip through a couple slides because I want to make sure that we're going to be able to get through. October, well, first of all, you're not supposed to be able to buy any brand new midsize, but you will be able to, you should be able to purchase it until, I'm sorry, to renew into it until October 1st of 2015. Yes, that'll give them basically, so if they buy it on, if they renew on November 30th or November 30, you know, then they'll be able, I'm sorry, September 30th, yeah, they would be able to keep it until another year from there. All right, so let me just kind of show you this slide right here, and then we'll move on here. We have some new competencies that are available. If you get, you know, if you achieve some of the benefits you're seeing up here, and we can talk about this at the booth and, you know, at the Solutions Hub, if you want to go into more detail, you do get some benefits, right? And the benefits specifically are going to be your internal use rights. If you have Microsoft Action Pack subscription, cloud productivity, mid-market cloud solutions on up, you'll see that if I really want to be able to be successful selling these solutions, I need to use them myself. Microsoft Action Pack subscription gives you 5 to 10 copies of Office 365 depending on how much you've sold. The Azure monthly credit is $100, but you can see if I get the cloud productivity solutions, I can get up to $350 to $600 depending on silver or gold of internal use rights for Azure, which is, you could probably run, you know, a couple servers doing that. Windows Intune and then CRM Online access, you can see that you can drastically increase the amount that you have there and so we really believe that, you know, you should at least have, if not a competency yet, the MAPS program. It's a great benefit because not only do you get access to the online services that I'm showing you up here, but you also get access to the on-premises version. Yes?
Do we need to sell a certain number of seats before we get a subscription?
Yes, well, it depends on the program, but yes, there's an annual commitment in terms. So for the maps, no, for the maps, if you don't need a commitment. If you want to get from 5 to 10, you do. If you want to achieve, you know, the full 10, yes, there is a commitment. But if you just want to get by maps and just have it for 5 users, then that's included with the map subscription.
You don't get it for free, you have to buy that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you have to buy maps. It's about.
I do have maps, so can I get CRM online internally?
If right now, no, until you sell. So right now, so by default, the maps program does not give you CRM online. If you want to have CRM online, you do have to sell. Don't quote me on the number of seats right here. I can't remember what it is, just unless you remember how many it is. But you would have to sell to get further access. The new programs also include access to our technical advisory services. With these technical advisory services, this is where you're going to be able to get insight directly from Microsoft's support personnel to help you scope out a solution, create a solution, troubleshoot a solution. These are pre-sales technical engineers that are here to help, and believe it or not, they've been underutilized by partners. So we're looking to make sure that this benefit is really announced to the world of partners. All right. So last thing I will talk about here before we go to the office pitch off is that this was a great quote, because you've always heard that, you know, a picture's worth 1,000 words. But really what we believe is that a picture is worth 1,000 words, but an experience is worth 1,000 pictures. Because yeah, you can show someone what, you know, Office 365 looks like from a screenshot perspective, but until they actually experience it and see what they can do with this new copy of Office and work on Exchange and use Lync to do, you know, sharing your desktop and doing video conferencing, it's really not going to be something that they're really going to get the true benefit of. So experiences are king. We've seen that if you actually show Office 365 and have them experience it, 50% increase in Office 365 sales, 20% higher renewals because they say, wait a second, I'm only buying Exchange online, you know, and that's what I was going to renew into, but now you've just showed me all the great benefits of the E3 plan. You know, I want more. At least I want to add some of these additional features. So the MEC demo program is available for free as a Microsoft partner. All you've got to do is go to usmec.com, click on the partner link, and that'll enable you to create a fully customized, not fully customized, but a fully built-out Office 365 tenant with pre-populated emails, pre-populated user profiles, pre-populated you know, link information, pre-populated SharePoint content. And once you run this, what I've seen some partners do is they say if they've got a customer that just wants to try it out, they'll create one of these USMEC demos, and they'll actually show it to a customer and say, hey, you know what? Here you go. Here's that demo account. Why don't you guys play around with it for a little bit? That's not necessarily the best way to do it because you want to walk a customer through it, but you can enable that to happen inside of this MEC demo tool. All right, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to bring up our Office 365 pitch off, and we're going to do this one a little bit differently. And I want you to pick out of these two scenarios right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have have you guys talk for about 10 minutes, try to pitch each other, talk about Office 365 scenarios using one of these two solutions right here, and then I will have a couple folks come up here. We will do a kind of like a role play using one of these two scenarios, and then we will offer the winner another $50 gift card. And the winner of the $50 Azure pitch off was Chris. So we'll give you that gift card later on. Thank you.